All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, everyone can hear me through the webinar's online audiovisual capabilities here. Uh, Welcome to the training webinar, and this is presented by GDIC, and this is for the contracts opportunities presented on the new beta.sam.gov website. These are the operations and the contracts that were formerly listed on fbo.gov. They've been transitioned over to beta.sam.gov, and we will be doing a dive into some of the operational screens and some of the capabilities at the new site so that you can navigate and keep track of and follow some of the opportunities that are presented there. If you I see a lot of folks who are on the chat screen on the side there. We'll talk a little bit as we go along about the operations of the chat. We'll be using that for Q&A. But since there's an overwhelming number of people attending the webinar, we won't be able to directly address all of the incoming chat notes. But we will be keeping a log of everything that's coming through here. So the Q&A questions will be captured by me. And as Abvand, our main presenter, goes through, you guys will be able to continue to file your questions, and we'll be logging those and addressing some during the Q&A at the end. If you haven't gotten access to the chat screen, it is on the right in that dialog box. Just make sure you click on the little dialog icon. There's the second one down from the settings. That's your chat. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get started. We want to talk about the fact that the webinar, it is live, and through the application software, the webinar is being recorded. So those of you who are registered, the emails that you registered with will be receiving a link to the recording of today's presentation. The chat system, as I was just describing, is over to the right side in the dialog box. Be sure to enlarge the screen so you can see all the details on the PowerPoint presentation that we'll be showing. That's the three dots to the right. And again, there's a Q&A session at the end. Don't withhold your questions to the end. By all means, file those as soon as they occur to you. That way we'll be able to get to some of those during the Q&A sessions at the end. Okay, so we'll start a little bit with background on the company itself. GDI Consulting has been in business for many years in production and assistance and creation and capture, all associated with the not just exclusively, but definitely largely government-provided opportunities and solicitations. So I will go over just some of the high points that you'll see here. Again, you can look through the details later when you get the transcript. And you can also get a downloaded copy. There'll be a file that we refer you to at the end of the seminar. The main thing we want to pay attention to is the growth of the company. You can see there that there has been a 68% growth in revenue, also a 12% increase in the IDIQ, GWAC, and so forth, and a 23% increase in new clients. The win rate, this is looking at over the past 3 years, you're looking at a win rate with an average of around 81%. So it behooves organizations that have some challenges trying to get the preparations done in order to address and to pursue some of the solicitations and opportunities to take advantage of the expertise that GDIC can provide. The experience, a very large number of proposal managers and writers and graphics staff and support staff all contribute to the successful combination of your information, your capabilities, your expertise to respond to these solicitations. There's over 50 proposal managers. I'm one of them. The lion's share, over 80% of them have more than 20 years of experience with proposal management and proposal writing. So there's a lot to call upon in terms of the types of the organizations and the solicitation offices of the government that these are directed at, and the solicitations are created by. And in 2018 alone, there's 210 wins recorded for just last year. This year's coming to a close, and we anticipate even better performance there. You can break down the numbers there, amounting to about 6.2 billion in revenues awarded. If you want a snapshot here, this current slide shows you kind of the areas that the solicitation have been focused in. You can see that there's across the board several different areas of technical expertise and background that some of our clients have. You can see the IT, engineering, and defense here on the left-hand column. You can break this down and look at some of the individual government offices and departments. Next here is management and professional services. These have to do with much more of the operational areas of the government. A little less technical, but definitely constantly there's a constant need for support operations. And then construction, environmental, and facility maintenance in terms of the infrastructure and some of the acquisitions. You can see how the client breakdown looks there. Again, you can look at the details of this later. We're moving a little bit quickly so that you guys have more time to actually look through and explore the SAM operations, the beta test site, or not beta, but I will call it beta SAM Gov, and also to address Q&A. So the webinar, here's the outline as it breaks down. We're talking a little bit about the background. We'll be talking about the entry point, where you're getting to in order to address the site and start to navigate. We're going down through the main menu, your search page, so that you can narrow down what it is that you're looking for as quickly as possible. The details page, how to navigate once you've got a listing of opportunities. The interested vendor list, to make sure that yourself, once you've logged yourself and presented yourself as an interested vendor, that you appear there, a way to confirm that you're going to get notifications, but also to know overall what numbers are being generated in terms of those who have posted an interest in that opportunity. There's workforce. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and how that is how that is handled administratively within the site. Obviously, there's sometimes multiple officers at the company that will need access, and they will be sharing information and searches within the site's storage areas. The followed opportunities, ongoing, and then also saved searches in case you were looking for the similar types of opportunities. And then finally, we will talk a little bit about GDI services in general, give you a little more about the background of the expertise, the experiences, and the capabilities of GDIC in general. And then our last bit will be the Q&A, where we're addressing questions that we receive through the chat. And I'll be logging those, marking those questions as I see them, but also logging them so that we can address some live here on the webinar, and then follow up with an addressed written Q&A to the attendees on the list. So with that in mind, we'll move forward with the specifics. We'll go to the background section, and for here, I'm going to hand this over to Ab Van, Vice President and one of the executives at GDIC.
Okay, thank you, Charles. Hello, everyone. My name is Ab Van. I'm VP for Capture at GDI Consulting, and I'll be going through the training webinar today. Just to start, before we actually go on the website itself, let me give you a very short and brief background on this website. As you know, there are 10 of these different websites, and the government is calling them legacy systems that they're going to and are planning to bring on to just one site called sam.gov. Right now, the ones that you see in orange are the ones that have already been transferred. So the catalog of federal domestic assistance, the FBO website, and the WDOL, the wage determination online system, these three have already been transferred. And next in line are sam.gov itself, which is the entity information website, and the FPDS.NS, the Federal Procurement Data System, which is essentially the contracts that have been awarded. These two are next in line to be incorporated into the current beta.sam.gov. But right now, only the three orange ones are there. And for us, the most important one is the FBO.gov. Everybody is having difficulty, and we want to see today the different capabilities, the loopholes, deficiencies, and what we can do about them to resolve or to speed up at least a little bit of the difficulties that everybody is facing. So having said that, I'm going to share my screen so that we go on to the beta SAM. Okay, I hope everybody is seeing my screen now. We are at the beta.sam.gov website. The first thing I wanted to mention is before we go into the details of the website, due to the time constraint we have, I'm going to skip the login part. In other words, the part that you create an account. If companies are there who are in problem, having problem actually creating their account, do contact us separately. We'll help you get over that obstacle. But right now, as most of the companies have already created their accounts, we're going to skip that part and go right directly into using the website. So having said that, what I want to do is to start the sign-in process. And usually you get this message, you accept. Okay, so here you have to put in your email and password and then sign in. Now, this is a two-step process for signing in. There are multiple ways of actually getting that second authentication. I'm using an authentication app code. Some companies and some people prefer to receive it by a call to your phone. You can do that. I'm using a system that is a plugin for Chrome. So I get the number here. I just copy paste this into this code. Sorry. And I'm showing that if you're not fast enough, it will age, so it starts again. So I put in the number. And there we are. Okay, so the important thing to understand is that if you do not, you can use the sam.gov without actually having an account. The problem is that then you won't be able to save your searches or be part of the interested vendor list and a number of other capabilities. So it's really important for all those companies who are serious about finding projects on opportunities on the sam.gov website is to have an account. So you really need to create an account. Now, it is also very important, I want to emphasize this, that when you're creating your account, there's a section that calls what entity are you with. In other words, they are looking for the DUNS number of your company. If you do not put that in, even though you have an account, you can still not save your company name in the interested vendors list and a number of other capabilities. So it is important that when you create your account to actually put in your DUNS number of your company. If you forgot to do that, it's not late. You can go into the profile section and enter that. But it is important to have that number, that DUNS number, so you're associated with a company, and that way you can actually participate in the interested vendor list listing. Having said that, this is usually the entry point, even though it's what's called the workspace, and we'll get back to this. This is essentially where you land once you log in into the system. And from here, you need to go to the other sections. Now, I want to give a very short brief on what each of these main titles or main menus are, and then we'll go into more detail later on. The first one is the main menu. So when you click on it, it shows the main sections of the website. The second one is the search. This one is the search, which is used most often by everyone. The third one is if you have any pending requests that you've made to the website administrator and you're waiting for response. Then if there are any alerts, they appear here. That's notifications and alerts that the government has. And the last one is if you want to log out or actually go and change your profile and see what's there. This is the button for that. So these are the main sections. Now, having said that, let's go to the main menu. We'll go to the main menu now. The main menu has 5 sections, as you can see. Home, which is essentially information. They give just some information. There's nothing there that can actually help you in terms of searching or finding opportunities. The data bank is essentially insignificant right now. It has some contract data, but as far as opportunities are concerned, we don't need it. The most important part, and we'll come back to that later on, is the workspace that shows us where our what we are following, what our safe searches are, and things like that. And we'll get back to that later on. Data services are the data sets that the government has uploaded. Again, it has little relevance to opportunity searches, so it's not really important. And then last section is Learning Center, which is the help section. Unfortunately, right now, the help section is very unintuitive, and mostly it's for government users rather than contractors. So I hope that today's webinar will help in some ways in that respect. The most important part that we will use, however, is the search button, search menu. So we're going to go into that search menu. As soon as you click on the search menu, you'll get this part. This has all the different sections in the SAM.gov right now. If you remember, I said that SAM.gov or the beta SAM.gov does have the FBO listings, but it's also going to replace FPDS and the old SAM.gov, in other words, the entity information. And some of these that you're seeing here are actually those that are testing them more or less. So if you go to contract opportunities, this is essentially FPDS. If you go to entity information, this is essentially SAM.gov, but you shouldn't rely on these. They've said that you should still continue to use FPDS and SAM.gov until they announce it. So all we have to do here is to go and select contract opportunities. This is the main part that we are after. And then just click search so that the main search section opens up. And usually this big blue section area is opened up, which we always close, has nothing special about it. So next I'm going to explain all these different gadgets and buttons that are going to help you in terms of searching. I'm going to let you know that towards the end, I will give you some good stuff to actually review. You can download it later on. Which has some of the material that I'm discussing, and I hope that will be helpful to you. We'll get to that, and I'll show you how to actually download it. But I will show you right now on this webinar how you're going to use the search capability of sam.gov, which is essentially the most important part of it. So you really need to be familiar with it. Okay, if this has essentially two different sections. The tab to the left are all the different sections that through them you can actually search. The right-hand section is the results of the search, and you can look at the different opportunities. And I'm going to discuss each of these separately. First of all, let's go through the left-hand section, which gives you the control on what you're going to search for. This change filters we're going to come back to later on. It's a good one. It's going to help you. So I'll come back to that. First of all, the search results and the saved searches are essentially going to change the pages. So what we're seeing right here is the search results. When you click on the saved searches, it's going to take you to another page which will list your saved searches. So we'll get to that later. I'm going to concentrate on the search results page, which is this. First of all, let's start with this. Status says active only. This means that it's going to show you only the active buttons, active opportunities. This is similar to in the FBO website when you went to advanced search and you wanted to search in previous years opportunities. You would click on a archive button and then you could search that. This is essentially that, but it works like this. It's usually selected, meaning that there is not going to check the archives. The old whatever has is out of date now. But if you unselect it, then it's going to search the entire archive. So now that I have unselected it, if you can see, since we don't have any restrictions on the search, it says that there are 3,693,179 results. That's essentially their database of the different RFPs and opportunities that they have. Once you click on the active only, this is going to show you only the active ones, which is currently at 96,789. So that's the first button that you should be aware of. Whenever you want to search backwards, you should always unselect this. Now, the second one is keywords. Keywords is whatever you type is going to find. However, there is a major deficiency here. You cannot use things like and, or, not. Any of those are not accepted. So I know we have a client who do not want to get DLA solicitations on a daily basis, but they want to see whatever there is except for DLA. They used to say in the keyword not DLA or dash DLA, and it would work. Here, it does not work. Whatever you put in is going to search for. So if I put DLA here, and I also put in, for example, Navy, it's going to, I have to put in DLA and hit a return, and then put a Navy and hit a return. So this is going to search for both, remember, not only DLA and Navy. So in other words, if you want to search for multiple items, you put them each separately here. It's not an and, so it's not going to show you only those RFP that are both DLA and have something to do with Navy. It is or, so it's going to show you all of the DLA RFPs and all of the Navy RFPs. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that capability right now. So no or, no ands, no nots, none of that works right now. Perhaps the government is working on it, but right now that's the system it is. And if you want to clear everything, you just click on the clear all button and it's going to clear it. and show you the same results. Now, do remember that as soon as you enter something and hit return, it's going to do the search. So this is how the system works with keywords. Now then, next section are the dates. There are 4 different dates that they have put in. Inactive date means the date that each RFP is archived. This is not used by most people, but it is there if you want to use it. So you can search by the date the RFP was archived or will be archived. And the same system stands for all dates. It has a from and it has a to. So if you want to find out, for example, all the projects that are going to be archived after a specific date, then you just fill in the from. So for example, if you wanted to see which RFPs there are that will be archived after, say, 1st of December, you just put in the month, day, and year, and that's it. But there is a difference with keyboard. Here you have to click on filter for it to activate. Otherwise, it's not going to work. As you can see, nothing has happened. But as soon as I click on filter, it's going to reduce the numbers. So there are only 24,000. So 96,000 turned into 24,000 because I have said that show me all those that will be inactive after 1st of December. So this is how it's going to work with these dates. If you click on clear, it's going to clear that date. Now there are 4 different types of dates that you can use. The inactive one, as I said, is not usually used much. Published date is something that is used. For example, you want to know what is issued today, what new RFPs are issued today. So all you have to do is put in 11, 21, and then 2019, and then hit on filter. And this will let you know what RFPs were issued today on the 21st of November. As you can see, 863. So the published date is going to tell you what were actually published. Now, there's a difference between published date and updated date because something could have been published 2 months ago but was updated today. This is not going to bring that up. If you want to see everything, it's better to go with the updated date instead of the published date. So if you want to see all the changes, all the RFPs that came out today, whether they are new RFPs or they're things that have changed, they have received updated information, then you would do the same, but not here. Instead, you put it in the updated one. So you put, for example, 21, month of 11, 21, 19, 2019, and then hit filter. This is going to now show you 863, not much difference, few only. So this is now going to show you whatever was updated and published today. So both of them are going to be shown. So that's the difference. If you use the published date, it's not going to bring up the ones that were updated, just the new ones. If you use the updated date, then it's going to bring you both the published ones and the ones that were updated. The last section, and then I will clear that now. The last section is the response or due date. Sometimes you want to know which RFPs there are that are after such and such a date. The due date is after. Usually after is more important than from. So if that is the case, you put it here in the to. So you want to see what RFPs there are that the due date is after, say, 15th of December. So you put December 15 and then 2019. And again, as I said, you click on filter and it's going to search for those that are after the 15th. There are 59,000 of them. So that's quite a one. So that's how these dates work. Remember that you have to click on the filter for it to work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Now we come to the second section, which is federal organization. And I should say, I forgot to say, these dates are an and relationship with each other. In other words, if you say that give me all those that were updated today and or updated in November, and the due date is after December 15th, it's not going to bring up all those that are the due date is after December 15th. Only the ones that were updated after November. So these different dates have a and relationship with each other. Let's go to the next section, which is the organizations. Assume that you want to search for an organization and only see the RFPs that were issued for a specific organization. There are two ways of doing it, the search and the advanced search. The search is, if you know the name, you just type it. But the problem is that sometimes you want to go deeper and go into the offices underneath that organization. So sometimes you want just, say, Department of Commerce. But sometimes you want just the office, a specific office in the Department of Commerce. If you want the agencies, the main agencies, you can just use this search one. But if you want to go into the specific offices, you have to use the advanced one. Now, there is a problem, and I'm assuming that the government is working on this. Some of these namings are different, so you really need to know how they have actually put it in there. For example, if you're familiar with USAID, you can't type United States. If you type United States, well, first of all, USAID just doesn't exist. USAID, and you see nothing is listed. You have to, it has to be listed to be accepted. So you say United States, and here's a list of everything that has the word United States in it. But if you scroll down and look at everything, it's not there. So USAID is not written that way. USAID is written as agency, doesn't have the United States. And you can see as soon as I typed agency, it says Agency for International Development. Now, if I didn't know that, the problem was that I just wouldn't find it. So it's really important to get familiar with the namings. Now, another problem is with the Department of Defense. All the sections underneath it, like Navy, Air Force, and things like that, you have to first go for the Department of Defense. In the advanced one here, so I type Department, and I've checked Department of Defense. And then as you can see, a sub-tier appears. Now, when that appears here, I have to say, for example, Department of Navy doesn't appear. I have to say Navy with the hope that here it is. It's written as depth of the Navy. So if I type department, it's not going to find it. That's the problem that this currently has. You really have to understand how they have written each of these and then make sure that you know it so that you can use it. So when you click on that, you just click on add and it's added as Department of Navy here. So that's how you actually select different agencies. Now, if you select multiple agencies like I've done here, I've put in USAID as well as the Navy. It's an OR system. In other words, it's going to search for all the RFP that are from the Navy and also all the RFPs that are from USAID. So it's going to add them together. Next is the type of notice. Type of notice is you're familiar with. It was similar to what was there in FBO. So you can say, for example, special notice, sources sought, pre-solicitation, and all that. In FBO, it was a checkbox. You checked it. Here, you have to select them one by one. So assume you want to go for everything prior to a solicitation. So perhaps you're interested in special notices. You're also interested in sources sought. As you can see, I'm selecting each of them, and it has to be listed here. And then pre-solicitation. So this is how you actually select each of them. And again, it's an or. So all of the special notices, all of the sources notices, and all the pre-solicitations. However, as I said, these items with respect to each other are considered an and. In other words, what we have said right now means that the system is going to look for all the special notices, sources sought, and pre-solicitations that are only available from the Navy and USAID and no other agency. So this is an and in between them. This one, entity name, unique entity ID, is essentially, as far as I understand it, irrelevant. In other words, you can put a DUNS number here, and unique entity ID is essentially the DUNS number. Or you can actually put a name here, but this is more for contracts. So if you want to find out, for example, the contracts that the company has won, you put them here. Other than that, it has no use. So we'll skip that. Now, this is the next section, which is the classification, NAICS code, PSC, and set aside. Here again, you have to select the NAICS code, type the number, and there's no, so here you type, for example, 541512, which is Computer System Design Services, or yeah, this is a good one. And then you have to click enter for it you select it for it to be selected here. And you can do this multiple times for different NAICS codes, and it's going to look for all of them. It doesn't mean that the RFE must have all of them, but say you say 541512 and 541511, which is Custom Computer Programming Services. So it's going to find all the RFPs that have either this or that. So both of them. It's not an and between them. It's an or. So this is how you put in the NAICS code. The same thing stands for PSC. So if you know a PSC, say, for example, 408 is the PSC code. Sorry, not the PSC 408. There. Let me bring, that's it. For example, valves. So you can see that if you put in 48, which is valves, it's going to cover all the different 48s underneath it as well. So there's a 4820 and 4810, all of them are covered. So whatever, if you don't put in the 4-digit number, but just put in 2, then it's going to cover just those 2 and all the smaller ones or the sub PSC items underneath it. So this way, again, you can put in multiple PSCs as well, and it's going to OR them together. I'll just remove that. Finally, we get to set aside. Set asides are the usual that everybody is familiar with, but it does have some special ones that might be useful. Some of them that are useful are, for example, partial small business set aside. A partial small business set aside means that it's both a large and a small one. So this is one of the ones that might be useful to a number of companies. The rest of them are the usual different types of set asides that you can actually use to limit the number of RFPs that you want to search. Now, having said that, there is a major problem with this, and I'll say that, which is for the large businesses. When you're not going after a specific set aside and you do a search, you cannot say from what appears in the listings whether that RFP is a set aside or not. So you have to actually go in, read it to find out if it's a set aside or not. Unfortunately, it's not listed here. The old FBO website, when it listed RFPs, did list whether it's a small set aside or not. This one so far does not. So that's one problem. Finally, place of performance location. And here you have to put in zip codes. If you put in a zip code, it's going to look for the place of performance based on the zip codes, and it's going to limit it, limit the RFPs. This is usually used for, say, for example, construction projects. You might want to limit the projects that you're after to a specific number of zip codes. And again, here you can add multiple zip codes to be able to cover larger areas. So these are the various sections that you put in. And I'm going to clear all with this button. It clears everything up. Now, that's this left-hand section tells you what criteria you're using for your search. Now, once you've selected that criteria, you're going to see the results on this right-hand side. And each of these are one section or one RFP. This is the link to the details of the RFP, and then more information, which agency it's from, the office, the RFP number, current response date, the due date, last update, when was it last updated, when was it published, and what type of RFP is it. It's, for example, this one says original pre-solicitation. Whereas this one says updated solicitation. So you can also see what it is. Unfortunately, as I said, it doesn't say whether it's a small business set aside or not. Also, if you remove this active only button, when it's listing it, it does show you if something is not active. Well, these are all currently active, but we'll see later on. I'll show you that when you remove this, let's go to the last list, probably here at 1000. We're going to get a lot that are not. Well, actually, this doesn't show it. But there is a gray button that shows saying not active. So if something shows up saying not active, it means that this RFP is no longer active, and you might look at it in terms of getting information and intel, but it is not something that you can bid on. Okay, having said that, let me now go into the details of how you can actually, this is one of the major questions that everybody has. First, let's see how you can actually save a search, and then how you will be using it. Okay, so assume that you're going to make a search, and we're going to give some criteria that I am comfortable with. Let's go for whatever was updated here in November, from the 1st of November. And then let's go for Department of Navy. So here we go into the Department of Defense first. We select Department of Defense. And then in the second one, we type in Navy, and we get the Department of Navy. And we add that. Okay. Now, we reverse sort it. Now, what do I mean by reverse sort? This is the sort section. The sort section can be done in two ways: last updated date and title. So if the default is last updated date. So now it's going to show me November 21st, and it's going to go backwards. So, but I want the other way. So I want to see, for example, what appeared on the 1st of November as my dates were. So I reverse sort it. To reverse it, you click on this button. If you can see, I'm not sure how well you can see it. It goes from large to small. Clicking once on it is going to go from small to large. And this is reverse sorting. So this is how it's going to show. And we're going to look at some of these and find out one of them that might be, for example, good. For example, this one might be a good one. I want to see what is inside it. Before actually doing that, let me explain how to actually save the search. All you have to do to save this search, for example, you want to do this every day. All you have to do is once you set in all the details here, the dates, requirements, agencies, whatever you're after, you just click on Save Search. Now, do remember this download button because this is one of the hiccups. When you click on Save Search, it's going to ask you for a name. Assume you say, for example, November update and save it. So this Save Search is now available to you and you can use it each time. So if you go to Saved Searches, this button, you will see that there is a November update here. So, and I will come back to this and explain more about this. So this is how you actually save search. And let's go back to the search results. This button says search results. I go back to that. So that was how you actually save the search. And then you can download what you have found. Once you click on the download, and this is something new, this wasn't in the previous FPO, so this is a good one. You can decide what the name is. You can download it in two ways, as a CSV file to be opened later on by Excel or as a PDF document. So here you can actually select how you want it saved. You put in the name and then you download it, and it's going to download it. Now, remember, it's not going to give you more than 5,000. So, for example, this search right now is giving 76,466,000. So this is not going to be saved. Only the first 5,000 are going to be saved. So remember that. So searches must be used. Now, let's go back to the saved searches. Well, that's one of the hiccups. Oh, okay. Now it's showing. November update. So if you want to see what it is, you just click on it and it's going to do the search. So each time you want to actually execute a search, you just click on the name and it's going to execute the search. And that's the execution of the search. If we scroll down, we'll see that it has the Department of Navy in it. The problem is that once you execute it, it's going to remove the date. So you see, it doesn't have a date. That's why it's found 377,000. So you have to put in the date again. So each time you want to execute it, you need to remember to put in the date so you can actually use that. Here we had it updated 11/1/2019, and we put the filter on, and there it is. And we save it. So you can save multiple searches with different names. New search, for example. And this is how different searches are made. Now, once the search is done and you just save the search, this button is changed to from download. If you click on it, it says save as new. So if you have saved the search fully, unfortunately, and this is one of the hiccups, you'll lose that download button. That download button comes when the search is not saved. If you save it, you'll lose it. So you have to go back to the saved searches and download it that way. I'll come back to it. But this is one of the hiccups. As soon as you save a search, you lose the download button. It just says save as new. It doesn't say download. So you can't use it multiple times here. So that's how the save search works. I'll get back to it because everybody has a question with regards to how you can get the results sent to you. You can't. I'll just say it up front. It doesn't have that capability right now, but I'll show you some of the ways of actually getting ahead of that. Now, assume that this is something that you want to actually look at. So far we've looked at the different search capabilities. Now we have picked the RFP and we want to go into it. So all you have to do, and here it is, one of those inactive ones, as you can see, says inactive. So this RFP is inactive. I wanted to show you. So let me click on the active so we can only see the active ones. And let's go into this one, freshwater closed loop electrical and piping kits. You want to get more information about this. So this is a new page. This is the details page. And it has all the information about the RFP. And we're going to go over that. First of all, I wanted to give you an idea of two sections. First section is called contract opportunity with these subsections, which are just anchors. As you click on them, it just jumps to a section on the page. This one is the interested vendor list. So that's the second page that is connected to this RFP. Now, this depends on the contracting officer and whether they actually do it correctly. There are two steps that each contracting officer must make for this interested vendor list to appear. First, it must say that this RFP does have an interested vendor list, but there's also another button he has to click on to say that people should see the interested vendor list. So sometimes, at least so far, some contracting officers forget to do that second part. So you can actually put your name in it, but nobody's going to see it. I don't know why you would want to do that, but I mean, why the contracting officer would want to do that, but that's the way it is. So if you don't see this button here, it means that the contracting officer has selected or has neglected to actually click those buttons and doesn't want this system to work. So that is the two sections in this. Now, the first section, which is the contract opportunity, has a number of subheadings: the general information, classification, description, attachments, links, contact information, and history. And if you scroll, you'll see that the same titles appear here. So these are just anchors to these. So, for example, if you click on history, you'll go to the bottom and it shows you the history. I'll get back to that in a minute. So one of the important parts to look at is this active one. This active one tells you whether this project is active. So if you're looking for RFPs to go after, you must see this active. If it's not there, this is not an active opportunity. So make sure that it's there. This is the second one is the contract opportunity number. And this is usually very important to look for. So this is where the RFP number resides. And then the other information that are usually there, the agency and the subheadings. The general information, the dates, when it was published, when it was updated, all of that comes under this general information. Now, this button, View Changes, means that since this was updated a number of times, maybe once or maybe more, there are changes. So as soon as you click on the View Changes, you will see what changes have been done. It says changes from October 29th, and it shows you what was deleted at that time. So this way you can see exactly what was changed in this section. Classification tells you what the original set-aside was, what the PSC was, what the NAICS code was, and if there is a specific place of performance, it comes here. Description, usually this might be a page long or it might be very short. Here you can see that it used to be longer, they have removed it. So I clicked on the changes and you can see that the contracting officer decided to remove this and has just said that it is CSS SSG type. Next section is the attachments and links. Here it's listed, the attachments, the name of the attachment, the size, whether it's public and you can access it, and the date it was updated. So you can see when it was uploaded actually by the government, so you don't miss the newest ones. And if you click on the download all attachments, you're going to receive a zip file of all the documents in it. Next is the contracting officer, the contact information, the phone number and emails and everything in case you have questions, would like to reach out. And finally, the history part. This is important to see. You're looking at, I'm not sure if you can see this. Perhaps I can make this a little bit larger. You can see. Okay. You can see that it has a figure here showing that you're right now here, November 1st. So you're looking at the November 1st draft of this opportunity, and underneath it, it might be one. Right now it's one. It might be 10 of them. The previous versions of this RFP are listed, and if you want to go and see what they said, you can always click on this. This is a link. It's going to take you there. Let me get the size corrected again. And here, this is the previous one. Now, how do you know whether this is the previous one or the new one? First of all, if it's the previous one, you'll get this notice in blue saying that, note, there have been new actions to this contract opportunity. To view the most recent action, please click here. So if you click here, you'll go to the newest one. And if you also go to the history part, you'll see that icon is now showing that you're looking at the October 29th and not the latest one. So these two you all should also be aware of them, so you don't mix up the different versions of the opportunity. Okay, now having said that, let's go to the next section, which is the interested vendor list. Remember that I said if you want to be listed on the interested vendor list and receive notifications and all that, you need to have, first of all, an account, and also you also need to have entered your DUNS number on the opportunity, on the profile that you put in. So I'm assuming that you've done already that. Having said that, then when you click on the interested vendor list, it's going to show you the list of the companies that are on that. I'm waiting for it to show up. There it is. Oh, it has been removed. Okay. It was removed since yesterday because I checked this same RFP yesterday and it did have it. So the way it works is this. Either, first of all, you want to add yourself to it, which you click on this one. And there it is. Your name appears. Now, this could be also another company as well. So the companies are listed here. You can see their DUNS number, their address, their contact information. And you can also look at the NAICS code. Okay, so here we go. Next is we want to show in the section that is about how you actually follow different RFPs and also how you want to manage your saved searches. So that's the section that we want to go after next. And that is managed in Workspace. So I'm going to show you how to do that and manage the Workspace section. As you can see here, there are different buttons in the workspace, and I'm going to explain what these are. First of all, this one, which is the user directory, is for companies that have a large number of users. We'll skip that, but in case you want to find a specific user, you just type in the name or email and you'll find that user. Now, here, the main things that we want to go after are these three buttons. First of all, downloads. If you have any pending downloads, sometimes the system is slow. You download something, but it says, hey, wait until it's finished. You can find out here if it's finished, and then you can download it here. But the two others that we want to go after are these, following and saved searches. So let's first go to the saved searches. This is where all the searches that you have saved will appear. I'm going to show that. Okay, so as you can see, there might be different searches here that are listed, and you can manipulate them. Now, there are different ways of doing it. Let's add another search just to make sure that we have two different searches. So you can I can show you what is available. And the system is a little bit slow now. Probably many people are trying to do the same thing. So I'm going to save a search and make it say today's RFPs. Oh, apostrophe is not accepted, sorry. So it's today's RFPs. Seems the system is very slow now. Okay. We go to the saved searches button so that it lists the saved searches for us. And we should have two of them now. Today's RFPs and petroleum from the previous one. Now, if you look at here, it says actions. If you click on that, there are a number of things that you can do. You can edit the name. So perhaps you want to change today's RFPs to daily RFPs. So you just click on the edit name, change it to daily. And that's it. The name is changed. Oops, sorry about this. Now, the other thing you can do is to duplicate. Sometimes you have a search, you want to keep all the different items that you had made in it, and now want to just duplicate and change a little bit of it. So this is how it works. And delete is obviously for deleting a search, and download means that you can download the search results. If you remember, I said that when you save a search and you go into that search, and I clicked on it, so it's actually executing the search. This is like run in the previous FBO when you said run an agent. This is the same. So you click on the name and it's going to run that agent. And we'll have to wait until it shows up. Very slow today. So what I was trying to say, and before it comes, I'll show you, is that when you run it, the download button does not appear. That's the problem. So you have to actually go to this workspace and click the download there. So if you save a search, the download button disappears in the listing. So you have to go to the workspace and then download it from there. That's one of the problems that this has. So it's not even showing now. There it is. So, for example, when you click on this petroleum, okay, that's one of the hiccups. It's not showing anything now. That's why they call it beta. It's not showing. Okay, now there it is. So you see, I just clicked on it, I ran it, but now I can't save it. In other words, I can't download it. It says save as new. The download button has disappeared here. So you can't actually run it and then download it. You have to go to the saved searches section. And instead of running it, in other words, clicking on it to run, you have to click on it and say download. And here you tell it whether it's CSV or PDF, give it a name and download it. So that's one of the problems that this system right now has, and hopefully they'll be resolving it. But essentially, this is the saved searches area that you can change the name, duplicate, delete, or download. The section to the left is to search for them. That's in case you have a large number of these searches and you want to saved searches and you want to somehow find them. That's what the reason for this is. So this is that section. I know that I'm running late. I will have one other sections before I finish and go into the Q&A. We discussed safe searches, but there's also another section in the workspace that is called following. And that is one of the major problems also, how you want to follow things. Let's go to the following. This is how you follow RFPs. The problem is in the management, in that the naming conventions, no following available. Oh, there it is. The naming convention is the problem. So these are the different RFPs that you're following, but where is, for example, stars 3? I don't know. Where is T4NG? I don't know. You can't say it from the name that of the recording. So the only way that we are doing it right now is each time we follow something, we come and find it here. We record the name in an Excel sheet. So, and we put the name, the title of the RFP saying, for example, stars 3, and then we put this number in front of it. So we know that this is stars 3. Sometimes, you know, otherwise you will not understand from these numbers. And when the numbers get too many, you just don't know which of these is stars 3 to go and do something about it. So that's the problem that this system currently has. But assuming that is resolved, let's look at what these capabilities are. For each of these RFPs that you're following, it tells you what type of RFP it is. For example, if it's a sources sought, if it's a pre-solicitation, what it is. And then this type, this is an opportunity, obviously. Last modified date, and then the email frequency. The email frequency, and it jumped for some reason. The email frequency tells you how quickly it should notify you, which is something new. It didn't have that, for example, immediate one. If you click on immediate, or that's actually the default, whatever change happens, you will be notified by your email immediately. Previously, the FBO website sent these on a daily basis. The quickest was daily. Now it has this immediate. So if something happens to, say, stars 3 and you're following it, it's going to be you're going to be notified immediately. So this is the email frequency, which is a good one. And then the action. The action part has 3 of these: following, unfollow for any reason you've decided to no-go some specific RFP and you don't want to follow it. So you come here, assuming that you know which one of these is that RFP, and you select unfollow. It's going to be removed from the list. And if you, and this one is also new, interested entity. Interested entity means that you can actually follow on entities as well. If something happens to that entity, in other words, that company, you can actually follow it. Say, for example, that company, that RFP, somebody adds, an entity adds itself as an interested vendor list. you will be notified. So that's a change. So you will be notified of all those companies that are actually being added to the interested vendor list. Now, this is on a case by case, another one by one. You can also select a number of these and do the same here from this button action. So this does the same thing for the email frequency, and it also gives you unfollow. So if you have a large number of them and you just want to unfollow them, you select all of them and you just say unfollow, and you will make that unfollow, and they will be removed from this list. Okay, so having said that, our training is finished here. Now, I promised that I would upload something for you. I'm going to give me just a few seconds. I will put something up so you can download it. This is a 10-page quick action guide that is going to show you all that we covered in a more concrete and better way that I did it. And you can actually use that in the future to actually go through it. So give me a minute. I'll upload it. And there it is. Okay, so if everybody wants to download this quick start guide, you can just, it's on the right-hand side, on the menus on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can click on that download file button, and you can download this, and I hope it can be helpful to you, and you can use that for a quick guide to the system. Okay, now I also wanted to cover very quickly on the capture services that we do provide. Having said all of this about the new BetaSam.gov website, we can do the opportunity sourcing. That's our plan A, that we are doing it right now for a number of companies. The way we do it, we create a client profile based on your requirements, what you're after, how you want to do it. And then on a daily basis, we monitor the BetaSam.gov website. We monitor, and then we email you whatever is available that is in line with your requirements. So that's plan A that we do, and we do that on a daily basis, at least so as long as the government corrects that search and the other capabilities, so you can receive emails directly. Our plan B is actually a full pipeline development. In other words, not only will we source the RFPs for you, we also have a dedicated capture manager to qualify the RFPs, make sure that they should go into the pipeline or not, and then he or she will have a weekly consultation with you regarding your pipeline. And then plan C is a full capture management process, including all the usual capture planning, implementation, black hat, competitive intelligence, price to win, and everything that is included in a full capture process. So these are the various services that we provide. Now, if you want to contact us, our VP of Business Development is Maron Freedy. The email is here. Telephone is here. My name is Abvand. I follow up on capture and the technical matters. My email and phone numbers are here. You can look at them. Also, if you download what I said, that quick guide, at the end of it, the emails and of the company and the website are available, so you can click on that and look at the different plans we have in case you're interested. Having said that, we can come now to the Q&A. I know we are late, but we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. I hope that Charles has been able to gather some of these.
Yes, I have. Let me go through some of the ones that were more frequent coming through here. A lot of them were search oriented. So if you can reiterate just the basic about the controls on the side there, that and relationship. I had a lot of specific requests about, can I do date plus organization, date plus government agency, that kind of thing. Is that through all searches that you've been putting together?
Yes, exactly. In other words, when you enter the dates, any of those dates, and then you add an agency or add a NAICS code or add a PSC, these are considered AND. In other words, um, it's not either this or that. So, for example, say you say update date after 1st of November, and then you select an agency like Navy. That means that it's going to show you only RFPs from the Navy that are after November 1st, updated after November 1st. So it's both of them. It's going to look at both of them. Now, the or the other side of it, the opposite is if you put in multiple agencies. When you put in multiple agencies, it's an or. In other words, say you say you put in that date, 1st of November, as an update, but you also put Navy, the Air Force, and perhaps DLA. What it's going to do is it's going to first bring in all the Navy, DLA, and Air Force RFPs, and then from that, it will select those that were updated after November 11th. So it has a very flexible system as far as this is concerned. You can't obviously do everything, but with this way that they have set it up, I think you can actually search for a lot of different types and requirements. Nonetheless, I should say that if anybody still has any problems, do contact us. We'll try to help you set up the exact search that you want to do on a constant basis for your company.
Okay. Where there were a number of questions about searching to get region narrowed down. Were you able to put in multiple states in order to avoid having to do multiple searches?
Well, it's essentially zip codes that you have to put in multiple of them. It does allow multiple. So yes, you can actually put in multiple ones so you can cover larger areas than just one area.
Okay. So, but you would have to list the zip codes out is the way it stands right now.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Gotcha. Okay. So the a couple of the things in terms of translation of your saved searches is another one. The folks that have actually investigated the system are asking if I have saved searches already on FBO.gov and they have sent me notification that everything's transitioning over. Those saved searches should be available, but they're not seeing them. Is there a way to an avenue for straightening that out? Who do they communicate with on that, or have you heard anything?
Yes, that has been a problem with many companies. The documentation says that you can actually bring along your saved searches. Now, it seems that when you, on the other hand, you have to create a new account in the new system. Now, if there are any changes in that new account, sometimes this match does not happen. So, for example, if you come along with another name or anything like that, sometimes this does not happen. So, best way is to actually call their desk, their help desk, and tell them your problem and see if they can resolve it. But what I've seen is situations in that when creating the account, the new account, it doesn't match with your old account, and that's why they cannot transfer the searches. That's usually the problem.
Gotcha. Two more really big ones. One is if you are looking to improve your search capabilities on the new site, is there a published list of the agencies and some of the keys that can be printed out or accessed so that you can put in the right search criteria?
Unfortunately, nothing like that exists so far. Our company GDI Consulting is preparing that. It's going to be changing, of course. The government is changing it based on the feedback that they're getting from the website. So first of all, I should say that any problems you see, do send them feedback. they're trying their best to change everything, but it's a huge project for them. So it will take some time. What we are doing is we're creating that list, and we have everyone's name registered for this website. As soon as that list is created, we will be sending that to everyone. So you know that, for example, I showed you, if you want to go for USAID, you must not say United States. It's not going to find it. You must start with agency. So things like that, we're going to create a list, and we'll be sending that to everyone who has registered for this webinar.
Okay, and the notifications. There's a need for the actual listings. Everyone's been contacted in the previous system based on their their listing as an interested party, or just to have themselves put on an update or notification list. They receive emails. And is there any permutation on the new system that allows you to receive that?
At least what they have said is that you have to enter again. The problem, as I showed you, is with regards to following, is that you don't know the name. But from the documentation and from talking to them, they've said that you actually have to do it again from scratch. And it also, as I said, depends also on the contracting officer whether they actually turn on the system or not. If they don't, there's nothing we can do about it.
Gotcha. Okay. And as far as have you heard about anything about the description? If you're following and you're listing out your opportunities, you're getting a key, in a printout based on record ID, but without a title or description. Have you heard of plans to flesh that out so that you have a more relevant reference?
No, that's the problem. That's, as I said, the projects that you're following, it just doesn't name them. It just gives you a very long record ID. And then when it notifies you on a daily basis, it says 25363DAAA has changed. You're supposed to know what that is.
Okay.
So the best way of doing it for companies that we recommend is until they change that, is whatever you put on your follow list, just create a checklist. I mean, Excel form for it, and put the real name in there plus that record ID. So when an email, when an update comes to you, you just look it up and you can find out what it is.
Okay. And for logging onto the system and maintaining your profile in general, for logging on, there's a description of an authentication verification app. Have you experimented with that at all? I would imagine that means there's a code or something that gets sent out to you to verify.
Yes, that's what I showed you in the beginning.
Okay.
There are two ways of doing it, two main ways. One is that you give them a phone number, and they will use that phone number. They will send you a code. Most people use that. But there's also another way. It's called an authentication app. Chrome has a good one called Authenticator. I'm using that all the time. And when you install that app on Chrome, then all you have to do is the program gives you a 6-digit code. You just input it, and that's it. But either way it works. Both of them are reliable, and the government accepts it as a second way of doing it.
All right. My last one here is if you have an operation or an organization with multiple DUNS numbers, can they be added to the same profile?
No, so far that we know, they're using DUNS as the main system for differentiating different companies. So essentially, they would be considered different companies, different entities. Perhaps that's one of the things that you can actually ask them to change. But so far, DUNS is what differentiates entities from each other for the government in their database. So I doubt that you can combine it. At least right now, that's not the way.
Gotcha. Okay. Those were the ones that kind of fell into some general categories. There's a lot of specific questions, so I think that's the follow-up that folks can expect.
Okay, great. And as I said, if you have not gotten the answer you wanted, you can communicate with us through our website or through the emails that we've been showing, and we will certainly respond to you. We can even set up calls. And if you need any services from us, as I said, again, that document that you can download has our links, names, everything, so you can communicate with us through that. And having said that, I would like to thank everyone for attending this. I apologize for the hiccup we had in the middle with regards to the sound. And we look forward to working with you and seeing you in future webinars as well. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone.